The following is a production of the Dallas Genealogical Society. For more information, visit us at dallasgenealogy.org.
This is Roots Magic, February edition 2022. And we're talking about Roots Magic 8 and how to use it from the very beginning. This is a setting up a new database with a new structure for this new platform that they really almost had to go to because technology is rapidly changing. First thing you want to do is to set up a family folder wherever it is you store your family data. I am actually going to put this information in my SIG trees folder so I can find it for future classes.
Teresa, was there a handout that you sent out?
No.
Okay, thanks.
All materials will be added sometime this summer to the Roots Magic Special Interest Group website on the Dallas Genealogical Society website. One of the first things I do is make a media folder for where the media is going to be housed. So I create a new folder, and my computer is being slow, and I don't know why. Anyway, while the screen is up and my hourglass is on, I will go through and add additional folders within that folder for my media. I'm actually going to call this one RM, so I know it's for Roots Magic, if my keyboard will type. Oh, wait a minute. And then within those folders, like census, I have a census year for every year. I guess 1950 is going to get added shortly. One for the mortality schedule. I have state censuses as well. And if I know I'm going to have foreign censuses, I will add like England, Sweden, whatever I end up having, all under census. And then when I get down to vitals, I have 3 folders for each of the vital records. All right, we'll try this one more time.
So your first folder is whatever the tree is, and then sub of that is a subfolder is your media, and then you're talking about subfolders to the Massey media, right?
Yeah, well, this is Taunton. We're going to do the Taunton family.
Because they look like they're on the same level. That's what I was confused. Okay.
Well, I have this set up because I had that Massey media in this one already, and I had my hierarchy there, and I wanted to know if y'all want me to put that in a Word document, well, a PDF, and get it uploaded to the SIG page so that you have access to that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know. We'll ask questions after we get through.
Okay.
So anyway, that's where this is going to be housed. And then I go to my Roots Magic 8. And I'm going to go to File, create a new Roots Magic file. And it's going to be an empty file because it's going to be brand new. And I do this when I do research for a family that I don't want to put a bunch of stuff in my database that I don't know if it's my people or not. And that's going to be this whole thing. These are Mitch's people, but this is what I do when I don't really know. Anyway, I'm putting it in SIG trees. So I'm selecting the location of the new file. and I don't need to browse. And so I'm going to highlight that, and it will take a minute, and it will open that folder. And I'm going to put in the name of the database, which is Taunton. And I'm going to go on and put research. So that's my flag that this is a research tree. And it goes through and it asks me new file options. And I like to uppercase the last name. And I tell it the date format. Now, I enter my dates European style. You may not. You can change it to any way you want it in that drop down. I do not use a numbering system for anything, because when you start to merge trees, that numbering system can mess up everything. So I just don't do it. So I'm going to click OK, and it will crunch, or should crunch. Well, it's crunching. There it goes. RootsMagic 8 apparently takes longer to do things than 7 did. I mean, 7 came up really fast. 8 seems to be a little pokey. And I have mine configured to always open in the family or open in the people format and not on the home page. And this is where a new thing will start. And this is where you add your first person. And in this case, if you click on that, you get this add person window. And her name is Emily. Now I know what her birth date and death date and everything were, because I actually have her death certificate. So she was born 7 February 59. In Louisiana. Note that I misspelled that. It isn't populating this place because it's a new database. And she died 26 October 39. In Melville, St. Landry Parish. Yeah. I did spell it wrong. RootsMagic likes United States spelled out. And I do know she was where she was buried. I think. Oh. I'm going to have to fill out more of that when we get over to the next screen. I'm going to click OK. Now, before I get too much further in starting, after I've set this up and you create the new database, you can import, which is really, really nice. And I'm trying to remember how to do it. Oh, files, import data. You can import from RootsMagic. You can import just lists, like just your facts, just your sources. So if you click on this, it'll ask you where you want to go look for the file. And I'm going to have to go look for the file Browse for file. Well, I don't know where I stuck it. I have a file that I named empty tree. It basically has only the sources. Well, it's not letting me click there. There it goes. I named the file empty tree with just sources and facts in it because I add tags. I don't know why they don't have tags in the fact list, but they don't. So I add it. Let me see if I put it. When I change the default, it moves stuff around. There it is. We'll try that one more time. Good grief. Well, I don't know what it's doing in the background here. I think it just locked itself up. We'll see. So while I'm waiting for the thing to move,
Teresa, can you import GEDCOMs?
you can import a GEDCOM. You can, if you have one. So like if you're using Family Tree Maker, you can make a GEDCOM and import it in. There will be a lot of cleanup to do. However, there's a nice thing that has happened with that little caveat. RootsMagic has a lot of things to clean up, or lots of ways of doing a cleanup. And it makes it much, 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 much easier to clean everything up.
So what's in the file that you're opening?
I'm trying to open a RootsMagic file that I created that has pertinent sources that you almost always will use and an updated fact list. And I made it, it's called, and I named it Empty Tree so that I could find it, but evidently it is really not wanting to work.
So you made that in another RootsMagic database that you already had?
I took it from one and created it. Yeah, let me see what this is trying to do.
Thank you.
I'm not responding. Yeah, I know that. Okay, I'm going to end task and have to start over again. If it will start over again. Well, let me. Close some of my windows down. It's not opening. There it goes. There was a recent update to the software that did fix some issues. And a lot of them were navigation issues. All right, well, I'm going to go back to this file. Open the RootsMagic 8 file. This is the empty tree. It will open. It has no names in it. All it has is that data in it. And I created it because when I do new research projects, I want that beginning list so I don't have to enter it all. So it's like all the census years in it. It has tax added to the facts, and I can just import it into another tree. It does have to be closed though. That's what I was going to say. So this is the sources that are in it.
But the sources aren't hooked to any people. Is that what you're saying?
There's no people in this database.
Right.
And see, these are all zeros. There are no citations here. But I can take this list and put it in another tree. So I'm going to close it because if it's open, it won't work.
And you do this because you don't like what it would normally call the source?
Well, one, that I don't merge anything.
Right.
I have my format that I want my sources in, and it makes my life much easier to deal with. And I'm hoping that file I saved a while ago, there it is, will open. Because if you can do this, it just makes your life easier. If you do this a lot, you want the ease of being able to open stuff pretty easy. Did that other one open?
And that way all your sources are named the same.
Yeah. And I don't have to because at the end of this whole thing, I'm going to merge it with the big tree. And because the sources are identical to whatever was in the original tree, it will make my life much easier when I do that merge. And see, because right now, there's nothing here.
But somehow you built that table of sources externally somewhere.
In another tree, a whole new database.
Just a totally empty tree with that. Got it. Now I see.
Yeah. And that's why I called it empty tree.
Sure. Okay.
So
why didn't you teach us this about 20 years ago?
Yeah, really.
do it in Family Tree Maker.
And why aren't you putting this into the quote unquote genealogy 101 course?
I know this is going back to the
This
beginning.
is very specific to RootsMagic as far as being able to import this.
Oh,
It's not something that you can do in Family Tree Maker. As far as I know, you can't do it in Legacy. Importing these sources is specific to RootsMagic. As far as the naming format goes, it's been on a lot of my handouts for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So it has been there.
so can we think backwards on this a little bit? Can you take what you think is your best quote tree that has good resources and you know, because I mean, we can all admit that stuff that we did 20 years ago is going to be less professional, I guess, or less accurate or not as well formatted or whatever than what we do today. Okay? So if I
Yeah.
take a family tree in either Roots or Family Tree Maker and make it a GEDCOM and then import it into RootsMagic, which, oh God. Anyway, can we take a resource file, clone it, and then empty the family out of it to do what you're talking about instead of starting from scratch?
You can import a list into an empty tree and clean it up.
Import a list.
Take a tree you already have in
Yeah.
RootsMagic, import that list into an empty tree, and then you tweak it.
Right, like you take all the names out of it so you can get that modified.
Yeah. All right. Part of my
You know what I
problem.
mean? Like, why would I want to retype census 1810, 1820?
I know.
1840?
That's what I'm saying. You fix it in one thing. So I can close this window. I also have created Excel spreadsheet that I call locked, that I put information in as I do research from Family Search. If the image is locked and I need to go to the library to see if I can get it.
Uh-huh.
And this is one of those examples. Her death certificate, Emily's, was actually available on Family Search. It is locked. I have my copy from a bazillion years ago when I first pulled it, but I would, if I didn't have it, I would put it on this list. And the next time I go to the library, whether it be Dallas or Grapevine or whoever has access, wherever I go get access, I would get this downloaded. Now I can upload an empty one of these to have them put this on the web. If that would be helpful as a reminder to do it. And I'm going to close this because part of my problem is they're saying I have low resources, so it's going like a pokey. And I don't know what's eating the CPU. Because last time I had trouble with this. It was because of something really strange. Well,
When you had it up there earlier, Outlook was one of the resource hogs. Not the most, but it was.
well, yeah, and you know what is the other thing, which is not even open, is a lot of my Adobe stuff, which I don't even have Acrobat Reader open. Or full-blown, man, it takes up a lot of resources. Good grief. There are about 30 different Adobes. I'm gonna have to remember to shut this down next time. And it's not letting me keep it off. I'm gonna have to ask Mitch how to fix that. That's ridiculous. There it is. Take you out. Take you out. That's what's wrong. Adobe is run amok. Anyway, I only import facts. I don't do multimedia or places because your places are going to be different in each database. I do repositories and the sources. Those are the only things I import, and then I click OK. And it puts them all in there. I'll close you. It closed everything and did not leave Taunton up. Good grief. Anyway, so I have these things that I can upload. I can put that in my empty tree up there too, I think.
So that stuff you just showed us, did it get imported into your tree? Is that what you're showing us? What is,
Well, I hope it did. If it didn't, I don't know where it went.
I don't even see it.
Well, it had to reopen it.
No.
And there again. Did that open? No. Well, crumbly.
Did you copy empty tree?
I imported it. You
Imported it into the fourth one down, Taunton Research? Is that right?
Well, not that particular one, but yeah,
Oh,
I have
okay.
several. I was playing with this. I have,
Those.
yeah, I have many trees open. But you know, I'm going to close this. Come on. It just opened. Cancel.
Wow.
I am going to minimize this, close this.
Why do you start with the tree instead of the family group?
That's where it opens.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
And it's already got an arrow on it, which I'm kind of glad I made a boo-boo because then I can show you a problem alert and what it looks like. I forgot to put that she was female, so you can, from this problem list, you can go to edit person and fix it. So there that is.
What are those groups up there?
The groups. Oh, one of the defaults that this Roots 8 has is you can create groups, any kind of group you want. I mean, I have groups for my immigrant ancestors, Revolutionary War patriots, Civil War patriots,
Okay.
War of 18. You know, it's whatever you want. I use them to keep certain people in groups, so it's real easy to go and see them all.
It's so like you could have a DNA group in case you were like searching for a big DNA.
So
Yes,
how do you create that group?
that's in a future program.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Anyway, so that's her, and that should have fixed it.
So let me ask you about burial. Is that, do you put the name of the cemetery there, or you put just?
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Thank you for bringing that up. I will have to edit that over here because in that original window, you don't have the place details, and that's where you put the cemetery name. So this
Oh,
was
okay, I see over there.
Lottie
Yeah.
Cemetery.
Okay.
Make sure I spell it right.
And so this is a person screen or something.
This is the edit person screen.
Okay.
And this is where you add facts, you delete facts, you can do all sorts of things over here. And then you also source here. So I have her death certificate. This was her death certificate. This is why I said I had the names and everything. And I'm going to enter this information. And then I have to remember where I put this image. I'm going to move this off so I can read it while I enter it. You click under this little pen, and this is your source or your citation page for her name. I'm going to hit plus. Well, there we go. And it didn't get the sources added.
Well, I thought the sources you were adding were census.
I thought I imported them, but that didn't work. So we'll try again.
So you were entering more than just census.
Well, I was entering
All the names.
the names of the sources was what I was trying to get in
Oh,
into,
okay.
and it didn't. Go.
There it is.
This may work now because I got all that stuff taken out. There it goes. So, oh, and one of the things that's nice, you can open up to 3 edit person windows at the same time. And they show up down in the bottom here. So all I have to do is click on that and it will open it immediately. So I'm going to add a source. And now they're there. Here's death certificate.
That's cool.
I hit next. And what I put in the citation name is the name that is actually on the certificate. And they didn't spell it tauntingly. I tell you, every time I see that, her last name, it's spelled different.
But you spell it like it's on the certificate, even if it's wrong.
Even if it's wrong, and last name of whoever she was married to. And this is Louisiana, 1939. Certificate number, and that's the reason I wanted it over on my other page. 1, 3, 4, 4, 6. And then these alt underscored actually work. So alt O works to go to your next screen. So that source has been added. Under media down here, there's none right now. So I'm going to click right
So you
here.
could import that, right?
Yes. But I have to remember where I stuck that piece of media so I can move it to where it needs to go. It's the pits when you have a bazillion million files.
So on your on the citation, you don't put in like Bureau of Vital Statistics, such and such, or
No, and I'll tell you why.
okay.
You can get it from multiple places.
Uh-huh.
And if people don't realize they can get it from multiple places, I don't feel sorry for them. They should be able to find that information easily. I shouldn't have to tell them where it's at.
Well, I was thinking about you if you were using it to write a report and you needed to be a
you
source.
need more. Yes, if you're doing, or if you're going to publish records, I mean, you're going to publish a report, which I never am going to publish something. I don't see the need to do that. If you are thinking about publishing, then you are going to want to, oops, I didn't do that right. You are going to want to go on and put all that information. I just don't do it because I'm not ever going to I don't ever want to put a publication anywhere that my citations have to be perfect. You know,
And then RootsMagic doesn't create a base set of sources. You have to
either, well, you can use their source templates, but there are problems using source templates. The biggest one is if you JEDCOM them out, they don't always do right. If you try to open them in another piece of software, they don't always do right.
right.
So I always use Freeform when I'm setting up a new source, always. And the only one I don't, the exception is to a book, and that's because I use basic book because that's hard to screw up. And that will give me the copyright information, the author of the publication place and all that stuff, but nothing else, because I have just had too many issues. And I've heard of a lot of issues. Like when Family Tree Maker said they were going bye-bye and a lot of people jumped to other software at the time. They all complained about the sources being horribly messed up. And that was part of the reason. The source templating by the different ones is different and it doesn't work right. All right. So now I'm going to add the media by clicking on add media. It automatically the cursor goes to file name, and you can click the little icon at the end and you can search for it. However, I want to say this so I don't forget. If you have multiple items that you want to link, multiple images to link to one source, like a probate's 155 pages, you can click on drop new media and it will open a window where you can highlight all the windows, all the images in your file and drop and drag them to where it says to drop and drag them. And it will enter all of them at the same time. So you do not have to enter an image one at a time. That would be a pain. Anyway, so you click here and it opens your window to start looking at what it, and it will go usually to wherever you were last. So here's her death certificate and I'm going to open it. And now I'm going to name it. I've seen her name is Emily, Emma, you name it. And I'm going to put her correct spelling for the last name and also her husband's name because it was last name because it was on there. This was what's going to show up in your media when you look at media is that name, not the file name. Now you can go find the file name. Once that image shows up over here, you click this icon which says memorize citation. And then click your back button. And that little pin is now in that spot because you have a source there. Now come down to the place. Her birth date. See, it says citations birth for her and the date and everything. This last button is paste. You have an option to paste a copy or reuse citation. Reuse citation. Then you come back over here, click back, do the same thing to her death. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Reuse. Go back. And while I'm thinking about it, I do want to see if it says that she's born in Lottie. Buried in Lottie. It does say she's buried in Lottie. And so that's there as well. So I'll come down here and I'm going to add it here. And now I'm going to close this window. And I'm going to go over to sources because I want you to see that in sources next to death certificate, it has one citation. But when you click the next button, it's on 4 people. It's used 4 times. So it tells you a lot of information that you didn't used to be able to find out in RootsMagic. Okay. I'm gonna go
Is it
back.
storing the document in the database or just a link to it where you have it in your file structure?
It links to wherever you put it.
Thank you.
So do you
I didn't
create
set
like,
up all the different files over in the media folder, and the reason I didn't do it is it normally doesn't move that way or stay in the file folders, I don't think. Eventually, I will set up the hierarchy in there. And one of the things you may not have noticed, I have a file in that file hierarchy called new. That's once you get started adding stuff, put everything in new. And then you move it after you get it linked to the correct folder. That way when you're searching, it's going to the same place every time. You're not trying to move it in different places. And there is a way to correct that. And over time, I will show you how to do that.
So Teresa, is that the same as like I find things and I have a folder called data to be attached. It's to be attached, but I haven't done it. It's separate from the one I have where I say it's been attached. And so instead you put it in new, awaiting attachment to a particular fact or person or whatever. Is that
And
what
then I attach it and then I move it to where it belongs.
okay, so you can move it after you've attached it.
Yes.
Okay, because sometimes some software, once you move, you can't move it after you've attached it.
right?
Okay.
Well, for both Family Tree Maker and RootsMagic, you can reattach them. There's a way of doing that. Fix broken media links in both of them. So anyway, all right. So from her,
I was just going to ask you why you don't name an item the same as what the file name is.
most of the time I do,
Okay.
but every once in a while, like if I have a deed and it's a one page or one page deed and it deals with airship, my file name is going to be where I found it. Like Texas County, Missouri, Deed Book 3, page 44. But I may name it Heirs of Henderson Wilson because it names all his children.
Okay, I understand then. Okay.
All right. Also from her death certificate, her dad's name was there. It was Asa. And I'm going to hit the enter key to move down the list. And when I get to living, I'm going to hit the space bar that unclicks living. And then I'm going to do Alt-O, and it will take me to the edit person box. Now, I don't know any additional information, but right here, I can add the source death certificate. So I'm going to click on that little ink pen thingy, paste citation, and reuse her death certificate. And hit close. Now I'm going to add her mother. Oops. That's the problem. You have to hit enter. If you hit tab, it goes to the wrong place, and that's different than they've ever been before. And there again, hit tab, space to enter that, and then you come over here and add the source. Close that. So now over in sources, it's going to say there's 6 instead of 4 because I added it to 2 more people. Okay. And now we're going to go back to people. Come on, go back to people. All right. These little icons mean that there are sources out there. or web hints out there. So I'm going to click on Emily's. There are 11, it says. There are 8 at MyHeritage. I have a MyHeritage subscription. I would not recommend it to most people unless you have certain areas in the world research. And that's one of them is Sweden. I wouldn't recommend getting a subscription there. Family Search is free. That's something I always look at. Her death certificate was there. There's tombstone inscription and find a grave index. The only one that I'm really interested in is going to be the death certificate. So I'm going to click on it. And notice it had not been confirmed yet. So it will open here. All the unconfirmed ones will open in one window. So if there had been 5, they'd all be here. You don't have to click on each one individually. If I click on her name, well, open. It's thinking. It gives me all the information. You can only access it through a family history center. It does give you document information.
How did you know something wasn't confirmed? I don't know that.
Let me go back to the window over here. Work. There we go. Up here, pending hints.
Ah,
There could be 5, there could be none, there could be 100. You only have to open one, and they're all in one place. These have been confirmed. That means somebody has looked at them
okay.
and put them, added them to her. So, you know, we know she's there because she doesn't have a tombstone. Anyway,
Okay.
that's how you know. That's how you tell.
Or you know it from there. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to close that. Anyway, that's what I put on the Excel spreadsheet is that URL. So I
Now-
can go get it.
Do you have Ancestry come up? Does it come up there or?
No, in order for Ancestry to give you hints, you have to have a tree up there.
Oh, okay.
That's not going to help you with this kind of research. But I'm going to take her. Oops, I don't want to do that. And go to search. And go to this icon that says web search. It has a variety of things that you can search on here. Click Ancestry at the top. Always click this button that says open in external browser, because if you don't, it opens in that window to your right, and it's not nice to work. Oh, make sure you check the button. So when you click find, it already populates this information. It will open Ancestry. I'm going to close some of these, so maybe it will open faster. Okay. Well, we know she wasn't born in England. So just as soon as the edit stuff comes up, I'm going to come over here to collections and do United States only and click apply. And you're going to see a lot of things from public member trees. And yes, I have this photo. But it has a ton of stuff on here that is kind of irrelevant. So if you come up here and click this little button or the little pencil, I found sometimes it works to do exact, and if you do exact, then also do sound like and similar. Don't use sound X, it doesn't work. And also the same thing for Emily. However, it won't find Emma, and it should. But I'm going to put in Louisiana here. And if you start typing, it will give you what it's accepting for places. And I'm going to click the exact to here. So it's only going to search in Louisiana for her name. And that should reduce the number of hits. And somebody has corrected spellings here. And seen 2 days ago, yeah, because I was looking to see what I could find. So if I click on view, I usually do a right mouse click to open in a new tab. And here's 1860. So it highlighted her in this list. There's Louisiana with a different husband in 1860. There she is with her dad and her mother and another sister and a sister. So when we come back in a couple of months, this is where we're going to be, is entering these census records.
Well, I don't think that's her mother's daughter.
Well, that's wrong date. Wealthy is.
I bet you that's 10 months.
Yeah, I think it's 10 months because Wealthy is young. She's younger. And DNA says they are sisters. So, so this is where we will pick up when we get back together in June on entering census records. And like I said, she's with a stepfather here. So I can show you how to enter this other name.
Did you say June instead of April?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so messed up this year. This year has started off rough. Yeah, April. All right. I'm going to stop the recording and then we'll get questions. Any more questions if there are any. Where's that button? Stop recording. Okay.
This has been a production of the Dallas Genealogical Society. If you are already a member, thank you. If you are not a member, please consider joining today by visiting dallasgenealogy.org and clicking on the membership tab. Your membership dues will help us support the genealogy section of the Dallas Public Library, as well as help continue our education and preservation efforts.